Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lauren Walker, the Skull Brothers.
Welcome to episode 160 of the Sports Card Talk Show. We have a Friday night interview coming up.
Tonight we have Haas of Cards.
Yes, Tim over there.
Yeah.
I guess I should have looked to see if he cared. but that's what we're going with. Looking forward to having him on. He punts out a lot of great content and hard to keep up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is like when we're watching other videos, he seems like he's all supporting everybody else in the community, too. He comments on his comments show up on practically all the videos that we're watching, too.
Yeah, totally. He's just a big supporter out there and does a lot of great stuff on his channel. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And his energy is pretty contagious, too. So.
It is. Yeah. Should we do a little trivia before we dial in?
Yeah, let's roll.
We got the Minnesota trivia. All right. In 2007 to 2008, what big man averaged 21 points per game to lead the Timberwolves in his first season after coming over from Boston in the Kevin Garnett trade?
Al Jefferson.
What team did the Wild beat in the first round of the 2014 NHL playoffs, earning the club's first playoff series victory in a decade?
The Colorado Avalanche.
Yes. What 1999 first-round pick of the Timberwolves ended his college career second all-time in points at Miami of Ohio?
Oh, my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Wally Szczerbiak?
Yep.
I never knew he was that good of a college player.
Who joined the Vikings as VP of Player Personnel in 2006 and was promoted to GM in 2012?
Rick Spielman.
Yep.
Woo!
Nice job, dude. That was a 2. I guess those ones are just too hard for you. We had to jump it up to a 2.
Yeah. Well, they like to mix in, lacrosse questions and God knows what else on those.
Yeah.
Country question. What country singer opened the U.S. Bank?
Right.
U.S. Bank Stadium.
Awesome. Well, let's dial them up, huh?
Oops.
Yeah.
Ring-a-ling-ding-dong.
All right, we got Haas dialed up. How you doing tonight, Haas?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Doing pretty good. How's it going?
We're doing great, man.
Yeah, we're doing awesome, man. Looking forward to having this talk with you, and hope everything's well out there for you. Crazy times right now, but we all have this card thing that we do together, and get to share this with each other. So a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you can find them, I guess that's the tough part.
Yeah, not so much out in the wild, but there's still some spots online you can find. You just have to keep those email notifications on and keep looking.
Yep, and be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, gotta pay within like 2 minutes.
So, why don't you maybe go over your collecting history and get us up to the speed where the decision to make the channel, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I originally collected, I think 1989 to about 1998. I was 5 when I started. I know my father bought me my first pack while we were moving cross country from New York to California, old school style, driving across. I had the U-Haul, and I was probably driving him nuts. The first stop, he bought me a rack pack, 87 tops, and I wasn't even really into baseball or sports at all at the time. I played a little bit. I played like wiffle ball, but I wasn't collecting yet. But I just remember ripping it, and the rest of the trip, literally, I sorted them, looked at them, read what I could, asked him what I could, literally the rest of the trip. And I remember him getting really excited every time I asked him who a Cleveland Indian was. And that's when he told me that was his favorite team, and that's when I officially became a Cleveland fan. I picked up baseball. I picked up baseball that year. The following year, I picked up hockey and basketball, and then in '92, I think I picked up the Browns, just in time to watch them move. So,
right.
But, I became a more diehard Cleveland fan than everyone else in my family, and a bigger card collector than everyone else. My father collected when he was a kid. My aunt was a huge collector as well when she was a kid. They gave me all their cards when I was about 10 or 11, and that was my original collection. And then just somewhere in high school in '98, 97, somewhere in there. Everyone became disinterested in it. There was all sorts of scandals going on in baseball. The Browns moved. The Cavs were awful out of nowhere. So I kept watching my teams, but the interest faded in the hobby pretty badly. And I took about a 12-year hiatus off until 2010. I flirted with it for about 6 to 8 months at one point. I just started picking up slabs, old school stuff. I picked up a bunch of T206s back in the day for baseball.
Oh, wow.
But it faded again. About 6 months later, we started having kids. So that took priority.
Yep.
So it just faded again. Everything got stored at my parents' home. We were moving a lot at the time. I'm ex-military, so we were moving a ton. I sent everything to my parents. It stayed there for 10 years in Virginia. And 2019, I don't know why, my father decided to literally send my entire collection to me in cardboard boxes. He just threw raw cards into boxes. No protection, just here you go, and just they were already pretty mangled anyways. I mean, I knew nothing about sleeves or protecting cards or anything in the 90s. I had some in binders, but I was always like reorganizing them, alphabetizing them, so they were just, I mean, you're talking like PSA 6s at best at anything.
Right. A well-loved collection.
Yeah, it was a very well-loved collection. That's right. But I went through it about August of 19. I just wasn't happy with it. It was all over the place. I could tell my focus was Cleveland, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling it very much. But I felt like I wanted to get back into it, and I don't remember why. But I started watching YouTube. And I think I watched Packer 87 and Jabs and all the big guys when you first start.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of realized, wow, this is a thing. Other people are doing this. And then once I started watching them, I started watching smaller channels from 50 subs, 300 subs to a couple thousand. And I was like, wow, there's literally thousands of channels out here that are doing this. That's great. Yeah. I don't know anyone here in Sacramento that does this. So no one at my job ever talks about cards. So it was just, okay, well, here's another community I can find, and I can do that. So I started up.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely, if you ever talk about sports card collecting to other people, they look like you are a weirdo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a budget analyst by trade. I have been for many years, even in the military. It was my trade. And we never talked about cards. We always talked about sports. We always had just a ton of sports teams, but not so much cards. It was never a topic of conversation at all. And even locally, none of my neighbors talked to me about it. I have met people in Sacramento County through YouTube, which is great. Met a couple people in person, so it's very cool to stumble across other channels that are from Sacramento or they're from Northern California. It's a bigger community than I expected, for sure.
That is that's interesting that you said that too, because I always think that I'll never meet other collectors, and just in the last month I've hooked up with a couple guys that I ran into at Walmart. Next thing you know, we're texting all the time. We're meeting at the park store. Like, I would have never known this person and how into collecting he is, but other than accidentally waiting at Walmart in line and striking.
You guys have, how many times have you guys actually been like, hey, I'm at Walmart and I got this stuff. You want me to grab your stuff?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I get text messages, phone calls almost daily, if not every other day, from people not only in Sacramento, but Missouri, Virginia, South Carolina. I mean, the network I've established, the friends I've made just almost in a year now being on YouTube it's been phenomenal, and something I didn't expect when I started the channel. It's
totally
thought I was just going to be like a vlog, basically just, hey, here's my rips. All right, bye guys. And that was going to be the end of it. No, it's grown into like a community almost. It's very cool. It's something I didn't expect at all.
I think it's really cool that for someone who never has lived in Ohio, that you're a Cleveland fan. I mean, that seems like more like a curse that Cleveland people carry on them, and you volunteered to be a Cleveland fan just through your blood.
Voluntary curse, almost, basically.
Yeah.
Was born into it. That's what I tell people.
You were transplanted from there. We're like, oh, he must have lived there growing up or something.
No, I've lived almost everywhere but Ohio. I've lived in Virginia, California twice, Georgia, Texas, Mississippi, Colorado, New York. I've lived Hawaii, Japan, you name it. I've been there, but I've never officially lived in Ohio. But my parents are from there. All my grandparents are from there. All my aunts and uncles, all my cousins, you name it. My entire extended family. Still there, still in Canton, Akron, Ohio, still holding it down. It's pretty much from like age, probably birth until 20, I was there every summer for at least a month. So even with all the moves, it became like a second home to me. I've seen more Cleveland games for the Browns, Indians, Cavs in person than any other team. I know all the shops there. I've been there a lot, so even though I haven't physically lived there, it's like a home to me. Yeah, Sacramento is my home, but Ohio is very close second to my heart.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's Cleveland will always be my teams. I picked them up all since I was 5 to 7, so I'm sticking with them. I've been with them this long. I'm 37 now, so it's been 30 years of fandom. I'm not going to abandon ship anytime soon. So I've seen the worst, so I'm here to see the best now.
There you go. What were you going to ask?
I was just going to. I know you mentioned something about hockey a little bit earlier. So who is your hockey team then?
So I don't. That's the one team I don't follow from Ohio. We moved to California in '89. The Sharks became a team in '90 or '91. So I have been a San Jose Sharks team since day one. But I actually have not followed hockey since 2016. I kind of follow the scores here and there, but I'll catch a game here and there. But since they lost the cup to the Penguins, I've been kind of bitter about it. 2016 was a rough year. The Indians lost the World Series in Game 7. The Cavs won, which was phenomenal. Browns were winless the next season. And the Sharks lost the Stanley Cup. So it was had 3 teams make it to the championship in 1 year. One came out on top, and then the other went winless the next season. So
that was an amazing Game 7 too, man. Like, who would have ever thought Kevin Love could play defense, you know?
Oh, my gosh. I've watched the final 5 minutes of that game. I can't tell you how many times, and it brings tears to my eyes every time. I mean, Kevin Love covering Steph Curry like that. I've never seen him do that, ever.
No, I know. Something else, like someone else possessed his body for this there.
The ghost of Kevin Garnett just took over out of nowhere.
There you go.
I don't know what happened, but out of nowhere, he became a flawless defender on one of the most smooth point guards in the game.
I know. I remember watching the end of that game going, I couldn't believe that was Kevin Love, to tell you the truth. And then LeBron's did he get a block or a steal?
Yeah,
and
block on Iguodala. Oh my gosh! Out of nowhere, he sprinted from end to end on that. Yeah. And then he almost I thought he broke his hand at the end. I thought he got fouled really hard. But I still can't believe the Warriors missed those final 2 threes. And
it was probably one of the rare LeBron-led teams that I actually rooted for in the finals because I was just sick of Golden State by that time, and they were the heavy favorites. So I tend to go for the underdog, and I was going. And Cleveland kind of had the decks stacked against them the whole series, you know. So it was really cool to see LeBron do what he did. You know, to see him bring one home to Cleveland, and as a lifelong Minnesota sports team fan, you know, we feel the Cleveland's pain. The Twins won a couple series for me when I was a kid, so I've at least seen a couple championships. But until you actually, however many years you've been a fan and feeling that pain, it is pretty sweet when you finally get one, man.
I know. I remember seeing the Twins win. That was one of the first World Series I remember watching was Kirby Puckett and the Twins winning. Was it 91 or 92?
Yeah,
against the Braves. That dive in center field from Kirby Puckett. I mean, that's just iconic. Yeah. I totally feel that when you say you root for other like underdog teams or like other franchises that are just had a history of losing, like. Absolutely. Like I feel like Cleveland fans should be like deployed out to like other areas of the country when those teams finally win. Just congratulate them.
There you go.
I root for those teams too, especially when my Browns are normally like 0-5 to start the season or 1-5 to start the season, and the season's already over. But you start picking up those underdog teams like the Texans or whoever, someone that hasn't won. Vikings, I've rooted for the Vikings a couple times to tragic endings, and but
we know about those.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them over the past 20 years.
So, I was going to ask you. I was watching some of your mail days, and you're doing the like getting cards through the mail. Do you have a lot of success? Getting them back. Just curious on that because I've seen some people that have really good luck and others that are like, well, I probably will never see this. I mean, what kind of success do you have on through the mail?
So I was looking the other day because I always look at my percentage when I actually do the video and edit. That's when I enter in all my data, when like how many cards I submitted, how many I got back, the dates and everything. And I put it on my videos, but I'm at 94% success rate right now. And honestly, I don't take many risks. A lot of the guys I send to are very calculated. Once I get to a certain plateau, I usually go for 4 cards is what my goal is to get signed. And if they do it, a lot of the guys only do like 1 or 2, and that's fine. But if they do 4, that's kind of my goal. I have 3 kids, so I try to get 1 for myself and 1 for my 3 kids. So that's always my goal. And I let the athletes know that in my letters. So I may have a higher success rate because of that, because they see the father, son, daughter kind of relationship in my letters. I don't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys have kids too, so it's great. They connect and they let me know in these letters. But yeah, I've been very successful since I started late May. So I've been doing it for almost 6 months, which is crazy. I remember doing it a little bit as a teenager. In the 90s, and obviously we didn't have the internet yet, but my LCS in Lynchburg, Virginia had like this homemade book that they made of addresses, and I don't know how they got them, but they sold them for like $10 a piece, and I had 0 success. I sent out like 10 to 15. I sent out like 10 to 15 requests, and I lost like a lot of cool cards in the process. I lost like Hank Aaron cards. I lost Nolan Ryan stuff. I was like, man, this is awful. Like Bernie Kosar, like I lost out like all these guys, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. So
right,
I had like a real bitter taste in my mouth from it just growing up. And when I started doing YouTube last November, I kept running across these other TTM channels, and I was like, I'd tell them, I'd watch their stuff. I was like, man, I want to do that, but I don't know. I had such a bad experience the first time. I don't know if I want to get back into that, but
right.
This time around, it's been phenomenal. I send out 1 a day. I'm very strict about it. I do it during my morning coffee. Actually, it takes me like 5 minutes, and I have a stack of probably about 100 cards right now, just sitting in penny sleeves and card savers waiting to be sent to random athletes that I have a feeling sign. At least the last time I checked, they signed. So I'm set for like another 3 months, basically. Just got to let the time go by. And as I continue to open more cards, I get new people. So it's nice. Like I'm set for a long time. But I do have, since May, I think I have about like 45 pending guys still out there from back until about June 1st, until just this past yesterday when I sent out my last one. So Some guys take a long time. Some guys, I'm assuming they're already lost. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I have heard on some TTM videos it takes like they get a card and it was like 8 months ago that they sent it or whatever. So
yeah. Just this past one was my latest episode. I got back from Toby Hara, who played baseball with the Indians and Rangers in the 80s and early to mid 80s. I went back to enter his data. He was my first TTM. He was my oldest TTM request that I still had pending from June 1st. So it took him 5 months to send that back to me.
Wow. I don't know why. You still got it. That's pretty impressive.
Still got it. Yeah. 180 days later.
Yeah. So you said you put the percentage in your videos. See, a lot of times we're listening and I must not have caught that percentage because I'm like, I wonder, and being that, like you said, you're an analyst or whatever, makes sense that you have all those numbers down.
Yeah, I'm all about the numbers.
You're way more disciplined than I would be. One a day, and I'm like, all that sounds great. I just don't know that I'd have the discipline to do it. The one a day, the keeping the percentages, and I'm like, how many cards I have at this point. I can't imagine keeping all that. Great.
I'm not at all organized enough to ever do anything like that.
That's exactly right. And that was also a huge issue for me, is that I wasn't organized at all until about May. I didn't, very OCD about my cards. But for the first 5 months of my channel, I would just separate my Cleveland guys and then the guys that I was going to send off to PSA or sell. And then the rest just went in this giant mountain stack of commons in my garage. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I had 6 months worth of, opening 3 or 4 products a week. So you can imagine how many cards I had in there.
Man, yeah.
With no sorting. And so I had no idea what I had in there. And I finally just said, I'm gonna sort these guys. And I for like a month straight, for probably 4 hours a night after my kids went to bed, I alphabetized all of them. My entire collection is now alphabetized, and I'm caught up to date. And it helps me a lot right now with TTM. So I know exactly how many I have of everyone at any given time. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy, and it kind of is, but it comes in handy big time. If someone starts signing tomorrow, I can be ready like that.
We'll have to nickname you Haas the Librarian.
It's intense.
I want to do, and I'm just listening to you. I'm like, I think I'm going to go home and sort. And I'm like, who am I fooling? That ain't going to happen.
I've told a couple others like that.
That's awesome.
I've told a couple others that, and I've actually converted them over to that style. It's not for everyone, for sure, and it takes a ton of time. I can't tell you how much time it took me, but I've like literally every card in my collection is alphabetized and at least penny sleeved. Even commons, I don't care. Everything is going to be in great condition, because that's initially what made me fall out of love with the hobby, was just the horrific condition of my cards and my collection. Was
right.
Like I said, PSA 6s at best all around.
What is the most excited or the best TTM you got back?
Man, that's loaded. Probably the latest one. Probably Larry Nance for the Cavs was probably the most excited I got for basketball. I'm trying to think of my most recent episode. If I had Peyton Manning in my most recent one, but I thought it might have been fake, so I wasn't. I was like really on guard about it. I was like, I don't know. Like this would be amazing if it's signed. I was like, I don't know. Yeah. And then afterwards, when I found out and like did some research, I was like, holy crap, this is real. Like. So after that, I was pretty floored. When I got Archie Manning back, that was amazing. I never thought I'd hear back from him. Trying to think who else. Oh, Ozzie Newsome. Man, I remember watching him when I first started watching football, and I was just floored to hear back from him. Roger Craig most recently. Just the guys that take the time to write back to you. They'll write you like a handwritten note, like answering questions, or they'll talk back to you, or they'll inscribe your cards without even requesting.
Oh wow!
It just hits home like every time. That's that blows my mind every time, and it just makes me really appreciate them, just as not only as like athletes, but as just as human beings. It's awesome to get that kind of stuff back, and you feel like you know them a little bit better.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe you might like that player, but maybe that just added, just a little. I really like that player.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
If they took the time to, like you said, you're telling them the personal story about, hey, I'm trying to do this for each of my kids and me, and when they take the time to do it and write a little note, and that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you can imagine how many letters these guys get. They get hundreds to thousands, depending on who they are, a day or a week or whatever. And then they still take the time to just sit down and write you a note back. And yeah, I truly appreciate that stuff. It's very humbling, and it's just, I never realized how much I would enjoy TTM when I started. It's really grown on me. Just another surprise of doing the hobby. So.
Right. Yeah. When just talking about that and the surprise, it's kind of the same. Like I collect differently than when I first started, and get different ideas, and never thought I'd enjoy doing certain ways. So yeah, it's been a blast doing the channel and all the stuff that you didn't expect. I guess that's a big part of it.
It's always evolving. That's kind of what I've learned, because I don't know about you guys, but like when I first started, I was obviously a Cleveland fan, but I wasn't sure if I was going to collect Cleveland again. Like that was going to be who I collect. I don't know if I was going to do like Hall of Famers or autographs or whatever. I know my previous experience was with Cleveland, but I didn't know. I was just opening packs again to kind of see what interested me again. And then by like the second week, it was like, all right, I still love Cleveland. So, I'm obviously going to set those aside. That's going to be my focus. Yeah. And yeah, it became like the rookies and the Hall of Famers and the autographs and the relics. And it just keeps evolving. I've kind of noticed that just like more things get added. The Project 2020 cards this year from Topps. Like I didn't know where I was going with that at first. I was just kind of buying things that I thought looked cool at first. And then I was like, I really like this one artist, Ermsey, because his designs are just so far out there. I'm going to focus on him now. So I think it's really cool that it's constantly changing. And I think it's just a growing process, and something that it's fun to watch others too, when they realize it on their channels, that you see them evolve along as well.
Yeah.
I get a big kick out of watching that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that I'm definitely 99% of my buying is probably Vikings, but that other, I would say my Viking has probably gone down to maybe somewhere between 90 and 95% Vikings, but I definitely chase after like Hall of Fame football players, autos. Like us doing the Mount Rushmore series definitely opened up my eyes to wanting to collect guys from other teams, just as like they have such cool and amazing, just a history of the NFL and players, or for that matter, baseball or basketball. We've got basketball autos, and I actually just got a baseball player's auto in the mail a week or two ago that I showed you. You remember? I don't go outside. Like if I'm not winning any Viking cards, maybe for a week, I'll start looking for something else.
Yeah, I heard you mention on a couple of videos ago you were having not as much luck as you used to have with your Vikings auction wins. I've noticed the same thing. I've noticed the same thing with Cleveland stuff. Here and there, but definitely not as easy to win the more vintage stuff as like say 2010. I used to get Cleveland vintage cards for nothing. I mean, they were just basically giving them away unless they were like Bob Feller or Jim Brown, like the well-known Hall of Famers, basically. But like the nobodies, no one. It was like, here you go, 99 cents free shipping, for a 1945 card. Like, okay, not anymore. Not anymore. Everything's like at least $15, or they're robo bidded up here at the very end by bots, and it's awful.
It is. So, I want to go into the Fantasy Ripley because I watched. I really enjoy all you guys that are doing that, and maybe for people that don't know what that is, why don't you kind of just give a high overview? You don't have to get into the different multipliers, but like, what has that added to the box opening? Because I'm looking at it like, man, that adds so much. Because now every card you're like, ooh, I could use that. I could use that. I could use that.
It's just another element to the hobby, just another evolution of it. I know Eddie was on here from Spurs Cards 21. We're good buddies, and I know he was talking about it too. And we're in the same league together. There's 9 of us right now. We're all YouTubers. Basically, you pick a product. It could be any product, literally. You just, whoever your opponent is that week, you just discuss with them, hey, is it cool if I rip this product? And 99% of the time, they're going to say, yeah, go for it. We're all friends. We don't care. Right. Just part of the fun. And then based on those cards that you pull out of the product, you have to assemble a fantasy team lineup. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, either a kicker or individual defensive player, and then a defensive team. And then depending on whether it's like a parallel, you could be like a red foil from Absolute, or you can hit a relic or an autograph or a serial number, you get multipliers. So it would be just normal fantasy points. And then if you hit a relic, it would be times 4 for a relic. Sure. So it really like amplifies those cards that you hit that are special already. But it takes it to another level for fantasy purposes. And sometimes it does. It can go horribly wrong. And I think it's about to go horribly wrong for me this week because I picked Absolute. I got a defensive lineman for the Cowboys and it's autograph. They've been I think they're the worst in the league this year. And they're going against the Steelers this week, but I had to play it, so I'm using them as my team defense. So whatever points they get in a Yahoo default league, if they get 4 points, it's times 6. So it'd be 24 points. But if they get -6, then I get -36 points.
Against Pittsburgh, they may be getting those negative points for you.
And that happened to a team in our league. Shout out to the Card Dojo. He's another guy.
About that one.
The first week he got, I can't remember who he picked, but he had an autograph for his team defense, and they ended up giving up 42 points in week 1, and he got negative 20 points, and he lost because of that.
Right. He probably was using the Vikings defense against the Packers, I'm guessing.
It might have been that game. I think it was them or the Texans. I can't remember who he picked, but week 1 was just crazy. I mean, there was points scored all over the place, and everyone was healthy at the time, and week 1 was crazy. Except for my Browns. We scored 6 points, I think, in week 1. So,
so does the team get a bye week every week then in the league then too?
Yeah, since we have 9 teams, one person's on bye each week. I just had my bye last week in week 8. So I came off of that, and thank goodness, because I was struggling going into my bye. I'd lost 3 out of my last 4. I think I started 3-1, and then I've just had a bad stretch. I've lost 3 in a row coming into this week, and it's looking like it's about to be 4 in a row here with my Absolute Mega.
Oh man!
My opponent went with a Phoenix Hobby this week, so
oh my goodness!
So he goes with it. Doesn't that only have 14 cards in it, or?
Oh, the Phoenix Hobby has 60. It has 12 cards with 5 packs per, so it's very loaded with parallels, and I think you get 2 autos and a mem card in it. So I was hoping he would pull something he couldn't use, but no, he used all of them. So
of course, darn, no bye week for him, and
just pulled them on the wrong week. And a big issue with me has been pulling players like parallels and relics of guys that are on bye weeks or they're injured. I keep pulling Christian McCaffrey relics and parallels, and he's been out since week 2?
Yeah. Your box is loaded with McCaffreys and Saquon and Michael Thomas cards.
Exactly. That's almost exactly it. I keep hitting Michael Thomas and Run CMC and everything this year in 2020. And I can't stop hitting them. And it's been that
rare time where you're can I just not hit one of those guys?
I like those guys too, but stop it. Just
Oh, that is funny.
Get out of my pack, CMC.
I often think that I want to challenge Lauren one week like that, but we play in multiple fantasy leagues, and
Oh yeah,
dude, you totally were supposed to wear the pink hat
I
today.
was supposed to.
I beat him in the last time we played, so we have a hat that says "I suck at fantasy football" and it has a unicorn on it, and then a pink shirt that says with a big unicorn on it that says "I suck at fantasy football."
I'll have to tune in for that one. I got to pick that one out. You should have to dye your beard pink too, or something.
There you go.
Yeah, I've actually thought about, but like Kevin wants me to challenge to shave it off, and I'm like, that's never gonna happen because I never beat Kevin ever. Although my always far more superior than his.
Wow. I think me and my brother, we've been playing for about 6 years now, and I think he has beaten me once, and he celebrated for like a month. Like he would not let it go.
Oh, fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm in too many leagues this year. Normally I do only 2 leagues. I'm in like 4 or 5 this year, and it's tough. Like you watch the games. I watch football from start to finish on Sundays, and absolutely love it. And you end up rooting against like every team you're watching. You're like, yeah, touchdown. I mean, no, not to that guy.
Totally. We somehow ended up in, I don't even know how many leagues. Yeah. And I almost didn't even want to play this year just with everything going on. I'm like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
So up in the air. And then somehow it's like 6 for me and 5 for Lauren, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm like, this is just too much.
Kevin's tried to talk me into that 6 league at least a couple of years, and I'm like, dude, I'm not ever going to play in a league that has their championship on week 17. Never. If they change that, I might join, but I ain't playing that. I'm not playing in a league like that.
Yeah, fantasy football is already risky enough. Why even do it on 17? That's the ultimate gamble. It's just whoever gets to the waiver wire first and picks up those spot starters.
The tough part is it's a 32 team super league.
Oof.
Two 16-team conferences and our division conferences. Yeah. So it's 2 separate 16-team drafts, but there's nobody in the waiver wire, and they have it set up just like the NFL. So all the divisions, you play the way you play cross conference, everything is the same, and that's why it's up to week 17 because they fully utilize every week to make it work.
Kevin made it to the championship game one year.
Twice.
Oh, twice?
Yeah.
Did you make it last year?
Yeah, I lost two times in that. But the problem is when you're playing somebody in the other conference, they just mirror your moves. If you have similar players and you try and switch something up, they just pick up the same player. And
yep. Or if you lose a running back all of a sudden.
It does suck.
Yeah.
Lose a running back all of a sudden, all the free agent wire, and they just raid the running backs. Yeah, I've done stuff like that too. It's all strategy, and the playoffs is such a crapshoot anyways. I mean, it's like March Madness for basketball. It's just anything goes. You never know. You could be first place all regular season and then get knocked out the first or second round of the playoffs after a bye week or something. I experienced it all.
I'm not watching nearly close enough, so I don't even know what my record is in that league because there's no. Well, they don't want to pay the money to be in the league where they'll track it for you, so everything's tracked on a spreadsheet by one of the guys. And I'm like, I don't care enough to know. I'll look in week 13 if I'm in the playoffs, great. If not,
it's been tough this year. I think I'm about 500 this year in almost every league, and that's kind of down from where I normally am. Normally this time of year, I'm second, third place in most leagues. And I don't know if it's just because I'm into cards this year or if it's just because 2020 is just such a bizarre year and there's been so many injuries. I mean, my teams have been just ravaged. Yeah. I mean, I think like I've lost running backs almost every week so far this year, and I haven't been quick to pick them up. I haven't been quick to pick up the replacements or anything. It's just I've struggled this year with fantasy more so than I can remember in the past.
I think you're right. It is kind of a combination. It's everything going on this year, but then just being more involved with the channel. And I know you put out a fair amount of content, so yeah, I can't imagine.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. I try my best to cover 3 sports every week, and when I skip one, I get emails or I get pinged on like Instagram, like no joke, like people will just be like, "Hey, what happened to what happened to your basketball rip this week? Or, hey, what happened to you? Like, I have like just these guys that'll watch me just for one sport. And then when I don't do them, they're like, what happened? Were you sick or what?
Oh,
They'll watch like a baseball video and downvote it. And like, this isn't football,
oh man. Yeah, it's fun stuff to do. I know for sure. And I've been enjoying everything you're doing and stuff.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a favorite sport to open or a favorite product? Maybe favorite product might be safer for you.
Yeah, no, because I was going to say, I probably started off with baseball as my favorite, but recently it's been the old school basketball products that I've just really loved opening. Like 91, 92 Skybox to me is just, it's iconic. I love it. My favorites of all time are going to be 90s products. It's just one I collected when I was a kid, and it brings back all the nostalgia, and there's the ones that I can find still in fantastic condition, the ones that aren't bricked. They're just, I still think they're phenomenal products, and now they have that retro feel to it, and everything's kind of coming back now in 2020.
Yeah.
So it's cool to open them up now. Baseball, probably a collector's choice. I kind of talk about that in my TTM videos. It's like my unofficial set collector that I send out to all the athletes if I can. It was just a really cheap product I could afford as a kid. They always look phenomenal with signatures on them for some reason. They have like these white borders. They just look great with ink. And I've noticed it with basketball, football, and baseball products. And I have like, in my stash, I have a ton of them. I'm going to rip them here at some point. So I'm just going to keep adding to that collection here as I go.
That's I must have missed where you explain that, because I've seen you get care packages and you're like, you get really excited about a collector's choice card. And like, he does realize those are like the cheapest cards you could buy back.
It was like the Upper Deck Victory equivalent, basically, back in the day. It's just something I could always find as a kid at my LCS. They always had them listed for $1. Like I couldn't afford the SPXs back in the day, and the Fleer Flares and the Fleer Metals. They were always like $4 or $5 a pack back in the day. And now I'm opening all those products. They're all cheap and affordable, which is awesome. But yeah, I couldn't afford that.
Now we would be clamoring for the day that we could find $5 sweet packs,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now I'm begging people, can I get that?
I think just speaking of Eddie, I watched one of his videos where he was doing the pack breakdown. Must have been his most recent one, because he had to go in and he's like, and this is $31 a pack. And I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, oh, I would have had heart failure at $2 a pack back back when I was collecting. $2? Are they crazy?
I know. It was like when people were initially justifying like the sub boxes, the boom boxes, and the Brothers and Cards, and they were like giving the breakdowns per pack, and you're like, oh my gosh, like Prism's $39 a pack, like wow.
Yeah,
it could be there could be nothing in there. I mean, you could get, and there's like an insert or parallel per pack. What if you hit the insert of just some random guy? You're out $39 a pack, and that's soul crushing. And that's happened before. I've seen it so many times, and it's happened to me.
Yeah. As much as we have a little stash going on, we don't rip a lot. So yeah, anytime you open anything, it's a chance for sure. And I'm just like,
absolutely.
Now you're splitting up that chance with other people within that box. Oh my goodness, I just don't know.
Yeah,
I know that.
Go ahead.
Every time you buy a pack or a box or whatever, you're buying yourself a scratch off is what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. you're just
a lot of fun though.
Yeah, exactly. It's always fun. That's the best thing. The takeaway at the end of the day, it's always going to be fun. You're always looking for the cheaper scratch off ticket, the lower price. At least I am.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for something I haven't scratched either. Something.
Right.
I think since Prism, that's probably another product that I absolutely love. When I first came back was 2019 Prism Football. I probably ripped that more than any other new modern product was 19 Prism, and I found it all the time. And I'm not expecting to find 2020 Prism at all this year, like at all.
It's going to be so hard.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it at all.
Back, right? Is that what you heard? It's getting pushed back, the release?
I thought it was initially going to be, like next week or 2 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
I have no idea anymore. I mean, I keep hearing stuff is pushed back, and then I see people on YouTube like, "Oh, I found this on Walmart." I'm like, "What?" Just we're at the mercy of the vendors right now.
Yeah, I have several connections, so to speak, or friends looking. So, man, I'm hoping to get a little bit of it. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be my only hope too. Honestly, is probably buddies throughout the country if they hit me up and offer it to me at retail cost, or if they decide to hook me up, or if somehow I find it on like Target's website for just a minute. If I can find it, I'll definitely grab it.
Yeah,
I'm not counting on it though.
No.
I'm not going to set myself up for a disappointment. So
exactly.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I've got throwbacks is still open, so it's fine.
I'm really close to going back to the buying singles like I was doing before. Because as fun as it is to open, it's getting hard to go look.
Absolutely.
I spent way too much time looking, and I had Lauren go look one day, and he actually got lucky, and he's like, "Man, that was an adrenaline rush. Just getting the product was an adrenaline rush."
You don't know how many times he's asked me to stop at the store on my way home, and I walk in there. I honestly was thinking I could just tell them they didn't have stuff, because there's never stuff. You don't have to walk in there and like to walk back out. You almost, when you walk into a store and you walk back out without purchasing anything, I almost feel like they're going to think I'm shoplifting. Like I walked in there and I shoplifted. Why did you go in the store and just walk right back out?
You're walking out that security passage, and they're just the store employees just eyeing you up, and you got your mask on. Yeah, it's really it's really suspect in 2020.
Yeah, it is. I'm wearing a mask, and
sometimes you got the bandana on. You're just the eye contact. Yeah.
I guess I've done it enough where it doesn't even faze me anymore when I just walk in and walk out.
Yeah, I go to the same
stores. They know me so well. They're like, "No, they haven't been here yet."
I go to the same Walmart and Target, so they know me by now. And as soon as I enter, they go, "No card toss." I'm like, "Okay." We're here for milk anyways too, so it's all good.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go see if anybody put anything behind anything.
Yeah.
Which every time I think I shouldn't do it, like before we got on the phone here, I was on Instagram, and Smith Island posted, "Oh, I found these 2 boxes behind the Pokemon," and he was super jacked. He got a lot of good cards,
Oh man, I've never even thought about doing that whenever I've gone into the store. And I've never I just look at the shelf and I walk out. The one day that I actually scored, the stalker was stalking while I walked in, so it's like I didn't have to look. I was like,
oh, too funny.
2 more guys showed up, and we all shared it. They're like, "You take whatever you're going to take because you were here first." I'm like, "No, we're sharing," and we all took turns loading up our arms and putting it in the cart.
That's awesome. That's how it should be. I hear other people say that when they show up in groups that they all share it, and then I've heard the other side where just one person completely takes everything and just loads up on like products that aren't even taken out of retail boxes yet. Out of the cardboard boxes.
Yeah,
it's get away from that.
I never thought that I would do some of the stuff that I do now, but it's like if I don't do it, the next person's going to.
I know. I'm the same way.
I share with my friends, like I just do cost plus shipping. I'm not trying to make any money on it, but it's. I almost have a sick feeling when I do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt a little sick the day I did it. I was like, I'm not turning around and trying to make 5 times the amount on it. So, and who knows if we're ever going to see it again? That's
yeah.
You feel like you're never going to see it again, and it's for this entire year. It's been true. Every time I see a product once, I never see it again.
Yep.
And I think as long as you go in with the intentions that you all have of, deep down, that you're not in this for flipping. You all know you're collecting, and that you're trying to hook up other friends, family, whatever the case may be. It gets a little easier. Maybe not like wiping out entire shelves, but taking 5 to 6 blasters, 5 or 6 megas, you name it, because you're going to spread the wealth one way or another with other people that don't have that chance. And at some point they're going to pay it forward too. And you're just establishing that network of that community where looking out for each other. And that's kind of what this second half of 2020 has been all about. Just hooking other people up when I notice that online products are available. And then they do the same for me. And it's really helped out a lot. Cause I haven't seen a product on a shelf since late May here in Sacramento. Everything I've gotten from other channels, other buddies, or online that I've found within like 2 minutes of it being posted on Target.
Yeah, you gotta be quick on that. Oh boy.
Yeah. I got 2021 contenders recently that way, and it sold out in 2 minutes for basketball. And I don't even like contenders, but I knew if I didn't buy it, it'd be sold out.
If the Timberwolves have the number 1 pick, you'd think I'd be interested in it, but I'm telling the group that I'm a part of. I'm like, if somebody finds it and there's a 1 mega, I don't even know if they make megas for it. I'm like, I'll take 1 mega. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want it. I'm not a huge contenders guy,
I'm not either. It's never been good to me. It's been a terrible product to me since I've ripped it for football and basketball. And I can't even tell you what good hit I've gotten out of it, but it's something new. It's something different. I'll always give a product a chance.
And you got lucky getting it. I mean,
exactly.
Are you guys talking college? Are you talking pro contenders? College or pro?
It'd be college, right?
Yeah, it's considered college. It's contenders draft picks. So
yeah.
Contenders, I think, for basketball is usually like a December or January product. But draft picks is, I don't even know any of these guys still for basketball because we didn't have March Madness this year and the season got cut short. Half the guys are international players, so I don't know.
the top prospects, only because the Timberwolves have the number 1 pick, and it's all they talk about on sports talk radio, up here.
They going LaMelo?
The rumor that I've been hearing is if they do go with them, it'll be for trade bait.
Okay. Or is it like, what is the other guy's Wiseman, I think? Is that the other guy?
Yeah, and Wiseman doesn't want to come here.
Well, Levine.
Him and Cat have similar games, so.
Are they still talking about trading for Booker? Or is it still?
No, that was. I mean, of course they would love to, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I heard he wants out. Or I heard he wants out if the Suns don't show improvement in 2021. And don't blame them. The Suns are awful. No offense to the Suns fans out there, but it's a rough franchise. They haven't been good for a while since the Steve Nash, Sean Marion.
I'm not sure the Timberwolves have what it takes to offer if he wants to go to a winning franchise. It's been a minute for us too. Was Garnett big 2006, 2007?
Yeah. Culver and Karl Anthony Towns. It's about what you guys have left, right?
Yeah, and D'Angelo Russell now. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, D. Russ.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have a whole bunch of young talent. They just never let any of the players. They don't ever think about building a team. Like, it takes years to build a team and the chemistry and like having Spurs. How many years in a row was it? All those guys, and you bring in a couple new role players every year, but your bench is even like guys that have been on the team for, you just don't see that in the NBA with losing franchises. Is them ever sticking to a core of guys and letting them grow together.
You see that a lot with like the Spurs and the Celtics. I've noticed is like because people always get so upset when they pull Celtics rookies that aren't Tatum right now, but it's like. Guys, have you not seen what they do? They develop these guys so well. And the same thing with the Spurs. They all seem to emerge 2 to 3 years later as starters or at least temporarily with the Celtics or Spurs. And then they go on with these huge contracts to other teams and become like pivotal players.
Right.
It's their training staff. It's their coaching. Those teams just know how to do it right. And I wish Cleveland would do that. We seem to be the opposite. We always, we've had like Danny Green and Joe Harris. And we just give up on these guys, and they go on to win championships and become like the best 3-point shooters for other teams.
Right. Yep. Oh man.
Oh, he didn't mesh well with LeBron. Get rid of him. And it's like, well, wait, he's a good 3-point shooter,
Yeah, absolutely.
And LeBron just leaves anyways, so it doesn't matter. So we're just stuck with all these guys.
Exactly.
But it's all fun.
Hey, we're going to give you a minute to kind of talk about your channel and where people can find you. We'll put a link in the description, of course, and I'm sure that if they watch a little bit of us, they're definitely seeing you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff you got going on over there. So why don't you just tell people where to find you, and we'll start wrapping this thing up. We kept you long enough today.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. It's good to talk to you guys. It's been a while. Wanted to for a while. But you guys can find me here on YouTube. My handle is Hoss of Cards. Same name on Instagram. I think on Twitter I'm of Hoss. I don't know why someone's already took Hoss of Cards apparently, but I'm of Hoss @of Hoss on Twitter. I don't really interact too much on Twitter. I'm more YouTube and IG only, basically. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on TikTok. Really just Instagram posting primarily, PC hits, and then I post all my rips. I rip baseball, football, basketball, do through the mail autographs, PSA submission reveals, mail days, you name it, just about anything related to the hobby, eBay pickups for those three sports. At some point, I'll probably do hockey if and when I get back into it. It's still there. I need to get more familiar with the players since 2016. So it's tricky because the pronunciations are so international, and I can't jump into the game and speak people from Sweden,
Funny.
It's fun to watch people butcher hockey players' names on YouTube.
Another fun one is soccer. Try those soccer names. I tried it, and for fun, I might have even did a morning rip on Instagram, and I had the soccer fans coming out in droves. It's so funny watching you Americans try to pronounce the names.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be, have like an international incident here. So I used to love soccer.
With it, and they appreciated that. They're like, "Well, we appreciate you ripping a little soccer." So
I used to love playing soccer. I watched EPL for a long time as well. It's just I'm not familiar with it anymore near enough, and I definitely never collected soccer cards. So I probably will never rip soccer. I definitely won't rip Pokemon cards ever on my channel or Magic. I was into Marvel and X-Men comics for a long time and still kind of am. So that was kind of like my non-sports card collection as a kid as well. I don't know if I'll do that on the channel, but right now, baseball, football, and basketball is where I'm.
That keeps you busy.
The old Flair, the Flair Marvel cards.
Yeah, absolutely. The Flair.
Yeah, I have some of those too, man.
Yeah, they're so cool, man. The design is out of this world, man. They're so underrated. So underrated. I picked up a Flair hobby the other day for I think baseball for like $30, and I was like just so excited about it. And they're not worth that much anymore, but man, just the design on those things and that thick stock, it's awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
Just nostalgic.
Well, we'll bring the episode to a close. If you want to hold on 1 second, we'll just chat for a minute after we bring it to a close here. But again, check out Hoss of Cards on YouTube and Instagram for sure. And if you want to venture over to Twitter land, I'll have to find you over there so we can at least be friends over there too,
Yeah,
we don't do much either, so don't look too much over there.
Yeah, I'm not there often.
Right. So that'll bring episode 160 with Hoss of Cards to a close.
Skull Brothers out.